Hello and welcome back to 1874. I am your host, Dan Bardell, and I'm joined by Claret and Blue, ex-Villa View, Dan Rolinson. Lovely little rhyme that was there.
Nice.
Dan and I have done a show on Claret and Blue today, so we thought we'd jump on and do a show for 1874 as well. So a bit of 1874 ex-Claret and Blue going on here. And the topic we're going to talk about today, Rollo, is Alejandro Garnacho posting the picture that he posted on Instagram. Is there anything to read into this at all? I think we've probably got the same opinion on this, but can you read anything into Alejandro Garnacho wearing an Aston Villa shirt on his holidays in Ibiza in Spain? Don't know why I felt the need to tell people Ibiza was in Spain. I was just reading what was on top of the Instagram post there.
The Instagram post from Garnacho7 blue tick. No, for those that are listening, I was shaking my head all the way through your little intro there. I don't think you can read anything into whatsoever.
No, but people will.
No, of course. The fact that we're even doing this video tells me that people are interested in this and want to know, is this happening? What's going on here? It's a talking point in a time where there's not much to talk about. I saw this on social media on Sunday. Saw everybody else posting it. Oh, what does this mean? Eyes emoji, all that kind of stuff.
Everyone posted it, didn't they?
Every account.
People I'd expect better from as well.
IFFC Stato, Villa Report,
Max
all the usual
Stokes.
faces. Yeah. What?
Oh, dear,
It's a quiet week.
Yeah.
I'll let you off. We're doing it now, so we're no better than anybody anyway.
No, that's true. If anything, we were.
Yeah, probably. How far is it till we drag this out for 20 minutes?
Let's get going.
So it's the first time I've seen it since yesterday. And looking at that picture again now on screen, for those listening, everyone will have seen it anyway. I'm actually now more interested in the cars.
I was thinking, what's he doing with my car? That was my first concern.
Just looking at it, thinking, I've seen the Rashford, yeah, whatever, I don't really care. What's that car in the background? Oh, where is it? Like, I'm not that bothered about it at all, are you?
No, I think the only interesting element to it, and Garnacho will be aware of this himself as well. We'll come on to the reasons why we think we can debunk it, but I will say he has been linked with Villa, and he'll be aware of that. Now, I don't think there's any way this summer Villa can afford a player of that substance in Garnacho. The fee Manchester United are going to want, the wages he's probably going to ask for, even as a young, relatively inexperienced player. He's a big name in the football world, isn't he? He scored one of the best goals the Premier League's ever seen. He's playing for Manchester United. He is a global name, Garnacho, but I just don't think Villa have got the financials to do this deal this summer. Maybe last summer they might have done, but at the moment, the way things are, and Villa trying to get the wage bill down and the profile of player I expect Villa to target, plus the fact he plays on the left rather than the right, really, and I don't think Villa are looking to get a winger in on that side because it's not how they play unless there's going to be a massive shift in system. I just don't see it. No. I think this is purely a dig at Manchester United, is my thinking.
I completely agree. There's one important thing on that shirt, really, and it's the bits that are in white. Rashford 9.
Yeah.
It's not about the Villa shirt. It's about his mate that also plays for United and probably won't play for United next season, and neither will Garnacho if he gets his wish because he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So it's, two fingers up to my current employers. Rashford's also on his way out. I'm supporting my mates. It's the Sancho stuff, isn't it? In Rashford's comments when he joined, you're free now or whatever the hell it was. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? Was it freedom, actually? Freedom.
Freedom, yeah.
It's that kind of petty, these are kids on Instagram, really, is what it is. How old's Garnacho? 21, 22, something like that. It's petty. It's the world that we live in now, that this is what makes news. But none of that is really important. I think the fact it's a Villa shirt, it's almost a coincidence.
Yeah,
from a Garnacho's perspective, I'm posting this not because it's just that it's not a United shirt is all it is, and Rashford happened to play for Villa in the January window. If Rashford went to
Bayern,
I was going to say somebody like much worse, like Everton or something, it would be an Everton shirt with Rashford on the back. Like, it's not Villa. Villa isn't the story here. We're a byproduct of it, pretty much.
If Villa was the story, he'd be facing the other way. In a Villa shirt, he wants people to say that this is a Rashford shirt specifically, not that it's a Villa shirt. I think in Garnacho's mind, the manager of Manchester United will have treated him badly. Whether that's right or wrong, that's not for me to say. But Garnacho's mindset will very much be, I've not been treated very well here by the Manchester United manager, although he came out and said some things after the Europa League final which probably weren't brilliant, and I can see why he kind of has been cast aside off the back of that, and he's upset. Manchester United fans as well with his comments, and he would have upset them now as well with this photo.
I think that's the point.
Yeah, he'll also look at, Marcus Rashford and think, well, he's not been treated very well by Ruben Amorim and Manchester United either. This is like a double whammy, really. I'm kind of sticking up for my mate, and also I'm making making a point, and I'm doing something that's going to gain traction. It's going to get people speaking about it. I suppose it's the third photo of 9. It's not like he's led with it, but he knows that everyone is going to go through and look at every single one of those photos because he's a massive footballer and a massive name in the football world. So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's kind of making sure that, there's no room, no way back for him at Manchester United. They now have to sell him. Does him doing that make it easier for him to get a move? Does it make Manchester United more willing to knock money off the price because he's done this? They're the kind of things I think he's looking at. This isn't about Villa.
No.
This is about Garnacho and about Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, 100%. I wonder whether you say it was, in his mind to kind of support his mate or be anti-United or whatever. When he's posting this, I bet he's not expecting it to even get Villa's attention or Villa fans' attention, really.
Possibly not.
I don't think he's posting this thinking, I've been linked to Villa. If I post this, it will create a social media storm and people will be talking about me. I don't know whether that's the case. I think it's simply pro-Rashford, anti-Manchester United, and Villa are just happen to be kind of thrown into the mix there in the middle.
Got caught in the crossfire, haven't we, a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think it's relevant to us at all. The fact he's been linked to us, I think again, is purely coincidental from this post perspective. I'm not saying whether he has or hasn't, but I don't see him putting that picture on his Instagram to be like, well, Villa have been interested in me, let's reignite that. I don't see that at all.
Rashford commented as well, didn't he?
Did he?
Saying my bro.
Right, okay.
Which is kind of as loose attention that you can give it as someone who's, again, kind of caught in the crossfire of it.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Just said, it's almost like, I'll just say something.
Yeah,
I'll acknowledge it. I've just acknowledged it. It's so weird that even like these things exist, like social media storms. Now we don't have to talk about it, but we're talking about someone posting a picture in a football shirt on social media and trying to read into it what it means. Away from us trying to analyse that, would you actually even want him?
I was going to ask you that.
I don't think well, you're not hosting the show. I don't think I even would.
No, I wouldn't. Everything you said before about like,
people are going to say you wouldn't want a potentially world-class footballer in your team, but I don't think he fits anywhere.
Is he potentially world-class?
Probably. I think you can say potentially is. He's got some good attributes. He's a good footballer. You got to remember as well the setup he's playing in at the moment, and under Amorim the formation just doesn't suit a player like him at all. It's one of those ones where you say, well, if Emery got a hold of him, what could he turn him into? And from that respect, I suppose I probably would want him. But the way he's spoken in the last few weeks and some of the stuff he said and attitude, that there's big question marks there, and that's the kind of thing I wouldn't really want.
I was saying on our podcast about I want us to be kind of better than some other clubs or appear classy or whatever when it comes to ticket prices or whatever it might be. Why can't Villa be different? Why can't we do things differently? And to me, that is having good people play for the club as well and good personalities. I've never met Alejandro Garnacho, and I probably never will. He might be the loveliest man ever.
Yeah.
But the vibes just don't fit with me. Like, it seems like he's more bothered about him than the football club that he represents. And that's a modern player's prerogative, I guess. But you kind of see the attitude problems or the disagreements with coaches or whatever it might be and think, we've just been through this with John Duran. Do we need this kind of player at Villa? Can anyone be asked for it, basically? Can Emery be asked to deal with a problem player because they might be good? They might be world-class one day. Well, he might not be. He might waste his career by being a flash idiot, interested in cars and holidays and going out clubbing or whatever.
Whether you're an idiot or not, I think all footballers are interested in cars, aren't they? Because they can afford nice cars.
Yeah, but football should come first, shouldn't it? And kind of being a bit silly on Instagram to diss your current club. Like, if we sign Garnacho and he wants out in a few years' time and he's wearing a Liverpool shirt or something and we have to deal with that as being associated with that player for our club, it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. And I want good footballers, obviously, but good people that are going to keep the dressing room ticking along nicely, not coming in and being Billy Big, basically, and taking over, because it's not about you, mate. It's about Villa.
I think if you look at the comments from Manchester United fans as well, they haven't got loads of good players at the moment. It's probably one of their lowest ebbs ever has been a Manchester United fan. And they feel let down by it. They feel like they've supported him and, he's now just completely burnt his bridges.
Yeah,
at the football club. I'm always wary of players that kind of behave in that way when transfers
100%.
are on the offing. John Duran was a ludicrous nightmare a lot of the time of Villa, some of the stuff he was doing, and some of the stuff he did, his behaviour. There's no doubt that there's a good footballer there, but whether you ever get to fully unlock it is a completely different story. And Garnacho, you're right, could very well fall into that category. I guess in the current PSR landscape, in one of those kind of weird club-to-club transfers, a bit like we saw with Villa and Chelsea then to Villa and Everton last year, I suppose we couldn't completely rule out something happening with it. But I think if Villa are going to do a deal for anyone with Manchester United, it's going to be Marcus Rashford.
Yeah. If Martinez went to United,
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, 100%. If you said you can have one, Rashford or Garnacho, I'd pick Rashford every day of the week at the moment.
Same.
I think if Martinez does go to United and it's 40 million and we pay 40 million for Rashford and that helps us out and it sadly helps Man United out at the same time, that's a business deal that probably makes sense somewhere in the weeds. Signing Garnacho for 60 million and he'd want a pay rise, and I assume he's already on a fair whack anyway, to come in and be, what he would feel like. I assume I'm a big fish here in the small Aston Villa pond in comparison to, being at United. If I'm going to Villa, I'm going to be the main man. No, it doesn't work like that. I don't think. That's not the kind of player that we want. That's not the kind of player that I see Emery wanting. So for me, the transfer in itself is a complete non-starter, and this Instagram thing is purely social media waffle.
Yeah. So I think we've successfully debunked it there. But do let us know in the comments your thoughts. And
some people might completely disagree. They might think this is a hint of him wanting to come to Villa, but I just don't see that at all.
The fact me and you think the same tells me that there's two people thinking the same thing. So
we might be wrong.
Oh yeah, we could both be wrong. It's happened before, certainly. But I just don't know. I've not spoken to anyone who thinks there's anything in this.
Nah.
I think if there was something in it, maybe like The Athletic would run a story about it or something.
Do you think
if it was just a little one, but they haven't done that.
Do you think there'd be more or less meaning in it if he had Garnacho on the back?
Oh, if he had his own name on the back of a Villa shirt, then yeah, that's a big tell, isn't it? That he wants to go to Villa. But I honestly don't think that's what he did. I'm interested to know how he obtained the shirt.
I assume Rashford gave it to him.
Why did then he'd have had to have said, Marcus, any chance you could bring me one of your Villa shirts? Maybe he collects football shirts of.
Yeah, it's just one of his pals. So maybe
just trying to think.
Because Rashford, obviously, they wouldn't have played in a game against each other because of the loan. So it's not like they swapped it during a game or anything. It would have been after anything, I guess. Just, I want one of your shirts.
Garnacho was very much on the naughty step as well, wasn't he, when
we
played in the last game of the season?
If you are like a shirt collector, which a lot of players are, Rashford's Villa shirt is quite rare if he doesn't come back to us. It was only in existence for 6 months.
I think there was one on Classic Football shirts, the other day.
Was there?
I was having a little peruse. I don't really delve into the market anymore because it's got ridiculously expensive, but I think the Classic Football shirts had a Marcus Rashford match-worn Villa shirt on the other day. Wow. It was like 300 quid.
Do you remember when this is a complete side tangent, when we were doing the Villa View back in the olden days, when podcasts were brand spanking new in the Villa community?
When we were ahead of the curve.
Yeah. When retro shirts, if you like, were like proper cheap.
Well, we killed the market.
You could get a really nice shirt for like 15 or 20 quid that would now be like 60 plus or something.
Yeah, we ruined the Villa shirt market at a point. A few people have said that to me in the past.
Really?
Yeah, we killed it.
Because we were talking about it all the time.
We were wearing them to like podcasts and stuff. Yeah, Tom would always buy a honker, but I would be coming in good shirts.
They're cheap though. You'd be like 30 quid. Oh, that's decent.
I got a drill top for £1.
Did you?
Yeah, and it's probably worth at least 150 quid.
Really? I had a training jacket thing, I think, for like 7 or 8 quid that would probably be worth like 40 or 50 now, which isn't a massive markup, but it's sign of the times.
I've no doubt if I'd put a tweet out today asking for questions.
Yeah.
People would have asked me to talk about this 100%. Yeah. So then I would have answered it within that. So instead, I've done a show on it because I think it is an interesting thing to talk about. But I don't think, even though I think there's nothing in it myself.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a big talking point in a week where there aren't many talking points.
Yeah, but I
if
think
this was a busy week of player sales and player signings, and this popped up on Instagram, you're like, yeah, I'm not bothered about that. We've just signed these shiny new players. Nothing's going on, so everything's a big story.
I think you're looking from maybe Thursday, Friday onwards is then when we're starting to. I think the weekend you're going to see a lot. Is my feeling. You're going to see a lot of stuff happen over the weekend. We're going to go from 0 to 100 very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Friday onwards would be my prediction. I convinced myself when I was doing that little spiel that Emery would improve and he'd be good, but there's too many question marks for me over attitude. And Villa, I know this has been a big thing when Dean Smith was there. I don't know whether it is so much now, but there was very much a no heads policy.
Yeah.
At Villa, you've got to get the character right. John Duran was a huge risk to the dressing room. Yeah, it was a huge. Some players liked him, some players didn't, but he was more so. He just wasn't worth the trouble. I know
Yeah.
people will disagree with that, but I'm telling you, he was not worth the trouble at all.
And to be fair, Garnacho might not be that. Maybe we're kind of
No,
casting aspersions
we're
on him.
reading between the
He
lines.
seems like a potentially disruptive character, and he might not be. But there's a few red flags, basically. Put it that way.
I think in the main, he's a bit Alan Carr, isn't he? A bit chatty man. You don't want to.
Nice.
You hear a little bit too much from him.
Is that a reference that anyone on listening to this?
I think everyone will know Alan Carr chatty man is. I would think.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never used that analysis before. It's a brand new analysis here in the football world that I'm pioneering.
Go for it.
Let's see if it works again. See if anyone else ever uses that at any point. Right, let's go. Thank you very much for joining me
We've
today.
been two chatty men. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for joining me today. As I said earlier, we have done a show on Claret and Blue as well. So if you want to go and check that out as well, that was a Q&A, wasn't it? And people did ask about Garnacho. So people are keen for us to speak about it. We talked about lots of other things as well, including mascots and Hercules and Villa calculators and all sorts. So there was loads of stuff.
Brucey Blue Nose.
There was loads of stuff across that podcast to go back and listen to. So do that. If you're watching this channel, which obviously you are, because it's this channel, that's where we are now, then subscribe with your post notifications on, please, if you can. Give the video a like, leave us a comment as well with your thoughts on Garnacho and whether you think there's anything in it or you'd be keen to see it. If you're on Apple or Spotify, give us 5 stars, leave us a review or comment. That would be much appreciated. Have another show out first thing tomorrow. It's a pod with Greg about his book. It's well worth checking out. Really, really interesting, actually. And he told some great stories in there that you won't have heard before. So do check that out in the morning, and other content coming up through the week as well, which I'm preparing for. Other than that, have a great evening. Up the Villa.